Hey guys, I'm Drew,
Hi, I'm Asalee.
and today we're here for the first day of our 21-day lesson in self-care, ranging from everything from the basics of self-care, what it is, things you can do to take care of yourself, and how it can affect you, your community, and your global community. And to start things off, self-care, to just break it down very simply, is what it sounds like. It is doing things to take care of yourself. These are things that just make you feel like a happy, healthy, fulfilled human being. Everything from just like eating like good food for you to sleeping well every night to physical activity. All of these things support your mental, physical, emotional health, and it's really good for you. And so Sally is going to talk to us more about where this term came from and how this whole self-care thing came about.
Hello everyone again. I'm Asalee, and we're going to go into the history. If you know me, you know I'm like really into giving this whole extensive breakdown of things, which is what we're going to do. But it's really important, and I think that here at Survivor Alliance, we really believe in giving credit where it's due, and so we want to give credit to the women of color who came up with this concept. So if you're not aware already, women of color are the goddesses who help our society progress into this higher being, and we are so grateful for everything that they've done, and we want to be doing our part and showing our appreciation. So
yes,
women of color popularized it, but it started a little bit before that. It was a medical concept first, and the doctors, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, you go to the doctor and then they tell you need to be exercising more, you need to be eating the right foods. Those are basic self-care things, but that's what you hear every time you go to the doctor's office. And it actually started off with mentally ill patients and elderly who needed more long-term support, and the self-care concept was directly related to the medical field. And so it was more so you get this self-care from going to the doctor. Everything changed in the 60s and 70s with the civil rights and the women's movement. The women's liberation movement, they involved a lot more health items or just developed more health, but anyways, developed more ways to take care of their own health, because the traditional medical system is very racist and sexist. In case you haven't already heard about the way that birth control was founded or other reproductive was brought to light, it was through the exploitation of different women of color, be it from Puerto Rico, Black women, or immigrant women. So we highly recommend looking more into that history, but just to bring it back to self-care. So women of color through this movement had realized that the medical system wasn't giving them the help that they needed. And they decided to reclaim that and take care of themselves. And so everybody from the Oakland Black Panthers to different small women's clinics were founded to provide women with the help that they needed. That's not going to be sexist. That's going to be more preventative care. And just the idea that even if you're not sick, you're not always 100% healthy. And so what are ways that we can be practicing that in smaller ways to be healthier? And also, this was kind of correlating with this wellness movement at the same time, which is a bit different. The wellness movement was founded by doctors and nurses who were disappointed in the lackings of the Western medical system. So they noticed that their patients were still not fully 100% healed, and they decided to push this wellness movement. And so the wellness movement is more associated with wealthier, more privileged communities, and so they started making yoga classes available to different community groups like the YMCA, but those are only accessible if you were able to pay for it. And so it was really the women of color who brought the idea to the community. It was like, these are different ways that we can take care of ourselves because the system has not been taking care of us. So it's largely political through that movement. And it changed through the 80s when, like I said, these things got more privatized and more associated with privilege and wealth. But it's being brought back, especially we've noticed since this last election. Everybody's just so stressed out. You might be hearing like, spend less time on social media, go outside, spend more time with your friends. These are all self-care tips that were started when these women of color brought it to everyone. So we just really wanted to give props where it's due and give you guys a quick overview of the history. And to find more out about this, we're going to be doing our own little condensed post, but I highly, highly recommend checking out the article, A History of Self-Care on Slate by Aisha Harris. And we'll include that in the comments below so that you can get a really full, in-depth look into this because it's super fascinating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew, do you have anything else that you want to say about it?
I think you pretty much covered that whole article, I think, pretty well. We're going to be coming back every day for the next 21 days to talk more about self-care, like we said in the beginning. Tomorrow we're going to then go into things you can do for within 5 minutes for free to get started with your own self-care routines. Mm-hmm. But we're going to leave you with this quote by Audre Lorde, and let me make sure I read it so I don't butcher it and give her proper credit. And so what she says is, caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare.
Yes, so go Audra, and if you want to read more about it, it was in her book of essays, A Burst of Light. And if you're looking for more ways to get involved with self-care, follow these videos. You can also check out below, we will have a link with our self-care kit, with some tips and different things that we're going to be including through our crowdfunding campaign that you can learn more about making self-care easier, and we will deliver it to you. So thank you so much for watching and supporting and learning about the history of self-care. It's super important, and we really appreciate all of you. Take care of yourselves. Bye. And we're done.
Nope.
And we're not done. We're done.